It's a privilege for me to talk about a subject that I'm actually pretty excited about and passionate about, so it's really nice that people are interested in hearing about it. I'm hoping that what I present here today is going to be helpful. How many of you are therapists? So usually quite a few. How many of you are counselors? Okay.
Yeah, the same.
Well, maybe I'm wrong here, but there's counselors in the recovery industry that there are not NFTs, or they're not therapists. So that was a distinction I was making. So, and then maybe some of you are interns, some of you are here just because you're interested in the subject. Maybe you're just even for yourself or a loved one. So I'm really, really glad that you're here. And hopefully what I'm bringing to you today is helpful to you in some way, and you're taking tools away that can help others. I don't think what I'm going to be presenting here is difficult to understand. I'm going to be I will be talking about 8 separate different areas, and that is a lot. And each one of these areas would be a standalone lecture or webinar, at least another hour, each one of them. So I am going to be brushing over the surface. We did start late. I know we only have an hour. I don't think we're going to have any time for Q&A at the end. I'm going to probably skip over some of the slides just to try to get information in and maybe have a little bit of time at the end. I'm just not going to guarantee that. Okay. It's important to me to get this out to the public because I get clients into my office. I work in the recovery industry. I teach yoga, basically, and I teach nutrition in actual recovery facilities. So I've been around it for a little while. I'm kind of in and out, it may be my deal, but I'm still around it. And it breaks my heart to see how many young people are suffering from ADD, ADHD, learning disabilities, those on the ASD spectrum, and it's getting to a point where we have to stop it. And I also, it breaks my heart to see people who are suffering from depression and anxiety, and perhaps also suffering from the side effects that the medication causes. So there's reasons why things are going on, and so that's what we're going to get to. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me. I actually have a physical office in Irvine, and but I also help clients virtually, so either by phone or by Skype or some type of internet that's out there. I am a functional medicine nutritionist. I'm telling you in a moment exactly what that means, but I'm always curious. How many of you have heard of functional medicine? Okay, so maybe 20% of you. Good. I get to tell the rest of you what's about. My specialty, or the areas I really like to work in, I help all sorts of people. And when you understand what functional medicine is, you'll understand why I can do that. But my specialty would be the gut and digestive health, would be mood and behavior disorders, and then I'm kind of moving into trying to shift over into prenatal care, because I think a lot of this starts before inception. So I'm going, how do I get to the moms? How do I get to the families? It's beforehand. So that's my next area. I'm not there yet. I'm not. It's a whole different area, but that's where I'm moving towards. Okay. Functional medicine. Functional medicine is a branch of medicine that is different in Western and allopathic medicine in that they ask the why. Allopathic medicine basically concentrates on the what, and the what comes from blood work, it comes from symptoms, and then the what, or the symptoms, are treated most often not with lifestyle and dietary changes, but usually with medication, okay? So the what is asked, the diagnosis is made, and everyone's happy. That's the paradigm that they've learned. Doctors are not bad people. They went to medical school to help people, okay? But that's the paradigm that they've been shown and taught. And that's also the paradigm that they have to work under if they're working with insurance. And it's also the paradigm that, guess what? We want. We want to know what's wrong with us, right? When we go into a doctor. want to know the what. So there's a lot feeding into that. So what functional medicine does is it goes farther and we ask the why. Why is there diabetes? Why is there depression? Why is there a mood disorder? Why is there high cholesterol? Why is there a lot of pain and inflammation? Why is there cancer? Okay? There's always a why underneath it. So functional medicine practitioners, and it can be a nutritionist, it can be a chiropractor, acupuncturist, OD, MD, it can be anyone. They ask the why. They spend a lot of time with their clients in order to get to know them. And then to help facilitate changes as far as lifestyle and diet and whatever else we need to do. So that's the basic difference. As a functional medicine practitioner, we get to really dig in, and we do different types of testing than what you would find in the Western medicine world, and we look at the function of the body. So it's different types of testing, and it's very exciting actually. So one of the questions I like to ask when we talk about any type of disease, but especially with mood and behavior disorders, is, are we inherently flawed? Why would I ask that? Well, when we look at the amount of medications that are given out, as if we're Prozac or Xanax deficient, and we look at the numbers of people who are sick, were we built this way? I don't think so. Okay, so just kind of look at some of the statistics here. Antidepressants, and I kind of focus on antidepressants here in the first part of this slide. Antidepressants are the third most prescribed medication. Statins might be the number one. I'm not positive, but I would say statins may be in metformin or maybe in blood pressure medication. Statins probably would be number one. 1 in 10 people use them. That's a lot. 1 in 4 women between the ages of 40 and 50 are given an antidepressant or something like that. Why do you think that is? That age? Has anyone ever thought?
Premenopause.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of hormonal fluctuation going on there. Yeah, and unfortunately, instead of maybe trying to balance hormones, maybe looking at what's happening with adrenals, maybe looking at thyroid, they're handed an antidepressant. That's not going to help them, for the most part. The use has increased over 400% since 1988. Over 60% of the population do not improve on an antidepressant. Now I'm going to go into children here. According to the CDC, in 2011, 11% of children ages 4 to 17 had ADHD, which is about 6.4 million, and you know the number's higher now. In 1976, 1 in 3 children had learning disorders. In 2013, 1 in 6 children had learning disorders. What's happened to our kids? Some people would say we have better diagnostic tools. No, if you've ever been in a classroom, been around kids, you know it isn't just diagnostic tools. It's actually happening. You see it? Okay. Antipsychotics are being prescribed to children and teenagers with ADHD and aggressive behavior. Antipsychotics have so many huge side effects, and they're very, very addictive. That, to me, is a crime. 1 in 50 children have autism. And they estimate in 2020 it'll be about 1 in 25. Yeah, it's not going the right way. We have to stop it. We have to start asking questions why. We do. 25 years ago, about 1 in 550. So these medications are often difficult to stop and can have major side effects. Okay. So I'm going to kind of skip over this, other than the fact that many times, especially with antipsychotic drugs, there's no informed consent as to the side effects. And it's not just antipsychotics, it's a lot of other drugs too that people are given. Now, often when we go to a pharmacy, there'll be a little thing where we sign off on. They were supposed to have given us a little education. You should sign off on it. Okay? And we don't want it. But these are all the side effects that antipsychotics have. Reduced life expectancy by 15 to 20 years, and why is that? Kind of all the things that are listed below here. Often there's weight gain, so there's a problem with metabolism of 50 to 80 pounds. There's often a fatty liver. I have a client, I can't get him off, he won't do it, he's scared, he's bipolar, and he has a couple horrible oral incidents, and he will not go off his medications. He will not, and he has every single one of these things. Maybe not the bottom part here, he's brilliant. I mean, that often goes with bipolar disorder too. He is brilliant. Great guy, but he has everything else up here. Everything else up here. Behavior regression, brain shrinkage, robs many of completely engaging life. You know, risk of severe relapse and with discontinuation. So, not only with prescription medication antipsychotics for mood and behavior disorders, but also things like with metformin. People that have heart disease, they'll be put on a statin, and they're told that they will have to take this for the rest of their lives. One of the reasons is when you start going off of that, okay, you're going to have a problem, especially if there's been no changes whatsoever in lifestyle and cognitive therapy and perhaps for fixing digestive system. If you haven't changed what caused the problem, if you take someone off of medication, then they're not going to be able to handle their symptoms. Okay? So it's not just here in the area of psychiatrics, but it's also across the board with medication. You can't take someone off of metformin if they can't control their blood sugar, right? All right. These are the areas. There's a lot of them. Okay? When addressing healing mood and behavior disorders. Number one is diet. So the first three here are the things that I zone in on for anybody that walks in my office. First three, right here. Diet, learning how to use food as medicine. Your gut health, your digestive system, your gut is your second brain. Has anyone ever heard that before? Yeah, it's definitely your second brain. It talks to your brain talks to your gut. It's huge, and your gut protects your brain from toxins. The liver does too, but the gut does. Lifestyle, what's a person's lifestyle like? Stress, sleep, body movements, ANTS. Has anyone ever seen the acronym ANTS before? Oh, you're kidding me. All you guys would have. Automatic negative thoughts. Do you guys ever get clients in there in your office with automatic negative thoughts? I have some of them on my way up here, let me tell you. On a 405. I got some automatic. They just went off. I went, okay. All right. Hormones, huge. I'm going to probably talk more about adrenals, but hormones are huge. Toxins and inflammation, genetics. I'm going to talk a little bit about genetics. I think it's really important, and you're going to be hearing more and more about genetics in conjunction with any type of disease and predisposition. But I want you to keep in mind something, and that is good health. I put up 25%. I've heard different things. I would say maybe 10% genetics. The rest is our lifestyle and our diet. That's what turns on our genes, on and off, is our lifestyle, our diet, the way we think, all of that. Medications. I'm going to bring up some medications that actually deplete us of essential nutrients. In other words, if you take that medication, you need to make sure that you're boning up on certain nutrients that that's actually pulling out. Susie Cohen, she's a pharmacist. She has, if you Google it, you can find her PDF. It's called Drug Mothers. There's also, I just ran across something this week. I didn't write it down. There's another site you can go on, and there's a list of medications and the nutrients that they will deplete. So that needs to be, I would say a handy tool at your fingertips. And I am going to talk a little bit about common ones that you might run into of clients that come into your office. Supplementing with vitamins and minerals, I'm going to touch on that real briefly as well. Okay. So, food. You got the left side, you got the right side, okay? The right side is really ultra clean. It's all vegetables. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan. I eat meat, okay? Good, clean meat. I try to. Whatever works for somebody is fine. It's difficult if you're a total vegan to get all the nutrients that you need, the micronutrients that you need. But really what I'm talking about is on the big scale here. So food can actually alter our digestive system. It can alter and affect our blood sugar regulation and our behavior. You can be talking to somebody and all of a sudden the blood sugar will dip and they become not a nice person. And I don't know if any of you have ever felt that, where if I'm not eating enough and all of a sudden I gotta eat, you don't want to be around me. Okay, so everything on this side right here probably embodies everything you don't want to do. And some people are more sensitive than others. So I would say the populations that I have found to be most Well, it's probably because I kind of work with them. Most sensitive would be my ADHD kids and my kids on the autism or the ASD spectrum. They are going to be much more sensitive. And also people that deal kind of, you've got a lot of people also in the recovery population that are also very, we all are. Never mind, we all are, okay? Some are more sensitive to the chemicals in them than others. Okay, so the chemicals you're going to find in here would be your food dyes, your food colorings, your preservatives, okay? They're going to have your benzoates. You're going to have a bigger reaction from them than you might, let's say, from me. Now, I'll respond to other things here. We've got high fructose corn syrup. We have inflammatory fats over here. And it's interesting, they've done studies where you eat a meal like this, as food like that in there, and it will actually immediately change your bacteria in your gut, which means we can change it around too. But that is how responsive our bodies are to what we eat. So that's just a little demonstration there, okay? So do I want to say anything more about that? You mean it's interesting to talk about food. I am going to talk just a little bit more. But I don't know if I'm doing this slide or the next slide. So let me just plug here. Yeah. I do want to talk about a living food. So everything over here looks alive, right, to me, and everything over here looks dead. And we're living organisms, right? So we want to put foods that are still alive in our body. So what I mean by living foods, a living food is something that basically would spoil at room temperature in about 5 to 7 days. Now, we have dehydrated foods where that's not going to be true. We have sugars. Sugar's a preservative in itself. We have salt. We have flours, which usually, well, actually, the flours that are stripped, I can't say that, but white flour has a really good shelf life, right? Wheat flour will go rancid much more quickly. Do you guys know that? Mm-hmm. Because it's got the good fat, it's got the germ on it. So it hasn't been stripped, it hasn't been highly processed, so it's going to need refrigeration. Will it go bad in a week? No. Will it go bad in a month? It might go bad in a month. So we want foods that are still changing. If any of you have bread or tortilla at your house, and you can put it in the drawer, it doesn't grow moldy in a week, you don't want to be eating that. You don't. You want it to get moldy, which is a pain in the butt. I know that. Okay, you buy something, it's moldy. Well, you take half of it, you put it in the freezer, you're good. Okay, those tortillas also, if they don't have preservatives in it, will start going moldy in the refrigerator after 14 days. It will. You want your food to get moldy. You do. You have to just learn how to handle it differently, like the old days. Okay, organic food. Our grandparents did. Well, maybe some of you are really not in here. Your grandparents didn't know about organic food. My grandparents didn't know what organic food was. It's just how food was. Okay. Enough about that. I'm just going to kind of click through here. We do, again, want foods that nurture and feed us. But one of the things I want to bring up here as I'm going through the slides, and hopefully you're resonating with some of these images, is that there is, has anyone ever heard of Dr. Kelly Brogan? Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So she wrote, she's a psychiatrist in New York, and she wrote a book about a year ago called A Mind of Your Own. And she's definitely broken away from her tribe. Herbs and spices are really important for us. And the way that she treats her patients is she will not work with anybody unless they are willing and committed to doing the 30-day elimination diet, but she has a certain way of eating. She will not work with them. She's hardcore. All right, you've got to commit to that. That is how important diet is. Okay, so she's taking out grain, she's taking out gluten, she's taking out dairy. You're eating really clean, organic. There's no alcohol, there's no caffeine, and you'd be surprised. 30 days, how different people can feel. My population comes in to see me, and even people that are eating pretty well, I get a pretty sophisticated population coming to see me. They've already researched, they've done a lot of different things by the time they come to see me. And so they're pretty sophisticated, and lots of times I'll tweak their diet a little bit more, and I'll get an email, I'll get something that's like, I feel so much better. And even I'm surprised with just the two little things I did that. That's how powerful it is. So she starts off there, then she will go to lifestyle. She does work with patients that do want to wean off of their medications. Stopping medication cold turkey for most people is probably not a wise decision to make, and you need to be weaned off the medication. It depends on the person, depends on the type of medication they're taking. So she works with people like that. I don't think she puts any of her client base on medication. I don't think she does. And something I want to point out, she points out in her book, is that most of the medications that we give our clients for years and years and years and years have been tested to be used for only 3 to 4 months. Okay? So really, just like anything else, we have crisis situations where these medications may save someone's life. We want to get them stable, and then we want to find out why something is off. Just like when someone's having a heart attack. That's a crisis situation, and I love Western medicine for that. But then, when we're stable, we need to go underneath that and change something. Probably many things. Okay. All right. Good baths. All right. So our gut is our second brain and responsible for everything that's listed up here. But, and I already kind of said that there is association with what goes on in our head and what goes on in our gut. So I'm just going to move forward with this. So our gut is responsible for everything up here. And I don't know how many people have even thought about this. So our stomach acid is responsible for killing pathogens, parasites, and harm us. That's our first line of defense. When we ingest anything, is our stomach acid. We need to make sure we have enough. Well, what does Prilosec do? What does antacid do? It pushes down the
neutralizes it.
It neutralizes it, and/or it makes us produce less stomach acid. Yes. Okay. So that we're going to be a little more. More of a sitting duck for pathogen and parasites. The other thing that stomach acid does for us is it makes our B vitamins available to us. Is that important? You betcha. B12, dementia. Older people that have a more difficult time, they usually have a reduced production of stomach acid, dementia, B6, all of that. Okay, so it affects us. Our gut is where the majority of our serotonin is made. It also facilitates the availability of B vitamins with stomach acid and also absorption in the small intestine. It's where 90% of our immune system is housed. It's responsible for breaking our food down that we eat and absorbing these nutrients. So we can eat really well, but if our digestive system isn't working properly, we can't break down the food. We can't absorb it because there's a lot of inflammation or there's SIBO or there's so many different things. That's a problem. Okay, I can have some people coming into my office that are eating really, really well, but they can't digest it. They can't absorb it. It's responsible, again, for preventing irritants and toxins from reaching the brain. It's where 100 trillion bacteria live and thrive and protect us. 100 trillion. Okay? About 90% of our DNA in our body are our microbiome, which are bacteria, yeast, viruses, pathogens, is all of that. Okay? Our microbiome, you'll hear about that. When we think about it, we think about our gut, but our microbiome is on our skin, it's in our lungs, it's in our vaginal tract. Oh, what time is it for? It's time for me to travel. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So we want to have the right type of bacteria in our gut and on our skin and around our body because it's really driving what's happening in our body. Okay? They rule us. We don't rule them. They rule us. They outnumber our DNA way more. Okay. So these are obvious signs of a compromised digestive tract. So if you were to have someone to come into your office, or even yourselves, or someone that you live with, these are obvious signs, right? You have heartburn, acid reflux, stomach distension right after eating, upper abdominal pain, indigestion, belching, gastritis, any type of ulcer, constipation, diarrhea, nausea, halitosis, and undigested food in the stool. So these are all indications that you've got a problem. And I would say, I don't believe it, but anyway, I saw a gastroenterologist yesterday because I have to have that procedure done. And I was talking about the digestive system is my weak spot in my body. That's where everything goes to. So I've had bouts with problems, and that's one of the reasons why it's kind of my love, because I've dealt with it, a lot of it in my, especially about a 5-year period during my life. But anyway, he was taking a history on me. He goes, "You have IBS," and I just kind of rolled my eyes and went, "Thank you for telling me that. No reason why, how I can get, it's perfectly normal." Really? This is why people come to see me. He's a great guy. He's in his 70s. He'll be great for my procedure. That's all I care about. Okay, anyway. Other signs that maybe might not be so obvious of a compromised digestive tract is fatigue. You're not absorbing your food, okay? You're going to be tired. Eczema. Someone comes in with me, eczema, I'll send them to the dermatologist. Usually there's a problem with wheat. Usually there's inflammation going on in the body, sometimes eggs, sometimes dairy. And guess what? A little stress going on in there, and that'll clear it up. Okay. If I see low levels of B12, folate, or B6 on, I don't use necessarily serum, but if I have a nutrient valve test, which does urine and serum as well, it tests for metabolites. So is it more direct? It's an indirect measure, but it gives us better results of measuring the actual amount of B12 and folate. Anyway, low iron levels, it makes me suspect that possibly there's a leaky gut. And same thing with B12 and folate. Is there a leaky gut? Is there something going on here? Urinary tract infections can be, repeated ones, can be an indication it's actually a yeast infection. We think of yeast infections, but urinary tract can also be part of that. Depression, anxiety, making that loop. Okay? Hormonal imbalances can be also part of this. Food sensitivities, migraines, behavior disorders, ADD, ADHD, autism, OCD. Okay? All of these. So these are kind of the less obvious ones. I'm going to read you about this case study because I thought it was very, very interesting. This is specifically out of Dr. Brogan's book. But this kind of links together hormones, it links together the diet and what was going on with this. So this particular woman was diagnosed with psychosis. She was 37, she was studying for her doctoral degree, so she was bright and obviously under some type of a degree of stress related to this. When she began to express beliefs that people were talking about her, these beliefs progressed to paranoid accusations when she was burglarized a few months later and accused her parents of complicity. She was hospitalized at a state psychiatric facility and labeled with psychotic disorder, treated with Zoloft and risperidone and discharged after 1 month. She was ultimately diagnosed with Hashimoto's. Do you all know what Hashimoto's is?
Yeah.
Okay. It's hypothyroid, but it's an autoimmune disease, okay? So the immune system is actually attacking the thyroid. So it causes low thyroid. So she was diagnosed with that. She was also diagnosed with celiac disease. Does everyone know what celiac disease is?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So people can have a gluten sensitivity, and then you can have an intolerance of gluten. Celiac is the intolerance of gluten. Again, this is an autoimmune disease. She had 2 autoimmune diseases. Okay? Some people have more propensity to autoimmune disease. They're doing gene testing for that. It can show up that, hey, guess what? In your family, you're going to be more prone to it. Does it have to happen? No, it does not. So the celiac disease, which accounted for her multiple nutrient deficiencies. So she had a lot of deficiencies. With celiac disease, you have a lot of inflammation in the gut. Usually there could be leaky gut and there's no absorption as well. So it contributed to multiple nutrient deficiencies, weight loss, and inability to absorb her thyroid medication. So even though she was taking thyroid medication, she couldn't utilize it. Okay. After receiving the diagnosis of celiac disease, the patient thought her practitioners were being deceitful regarding the diagnosis and refused to adhere to a gluten-free diet. Psychotic symptoms and paranoia persisted, and she continued to find clues of conspiracy against her. She lost her job, became homeless, and hopeless too, and attempted suicide. Her family took out a restraining order against her. She eventually was rehospitalized in a psychiatric facility where she was placed on a gluten-free diet. And after 3 months on a strict gluten-free diet in an inpatient facility, her delusions resolved completely. That is how much, I mean, there was a lot of different things going on for this young woman, but that is how much, if we miss something, we are not going to be able to help somebody. Okay? If I had it my way, recovery centers would give nothing but awesome food, and there would be certain supplements that every single patient would get if I had it my way. But I don't. What am I going to talk about here? Real briefly, I just threw this in today because I think it's important. I'm going to go into hormones. When hormones, we think about estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, right? Kind of that's what we think about. All right. Those are down here, believe it or not. We can survive without estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, right? We can. But we can't survive without thyroid. We can't survive without cortisol. We can't survive without insulin. So those are the top dogs. I'm just going to talk about thyroid, and I'm going to talk a little bit about adrenals and about cortisol. So thyroid, the only reason why I brought this up here, I decided to throw it in, was that a lot of people think they get their thyroid tested once they have their TSH tested. All that is doing is measuring your thyroid stimulating hormone. That's all it's measuring, which in the ideal world, this and this is a feedback loop for your brain to produce thyroid stimulating hormone, or TSH, okay? But it doesn't always work that way because there's other things that's happening up here. So you always need at least your T4 and T3. A lot of doctors go TSH and T4. Well, there's a problem with that, and that is, this is the inactive form. So if your body's not converting your T4 to T3, guess what? You can still be hypothyroid. You can. So you need at least that, thyroid antibodies to determine whether or not you have Hashimoto's or Graves or whatever. And then this is one that's harder. Reverse T3. This is to kind of screen for if there's a problem from the adrenal glands with that conversion here. But this is what I recommend. And again, that's not in your packet because I think that is funny. Can I go on? Yeah, this is a good picture. Okay, so this is, we'll go back to the other one. But, and, you know, guys, you have it going on too, but I do see more women than men. I love my men, but they tend not to come in, and my women tend to be doing all this stuff. It doesn't work. You can't work full time and be wife and everything else. I'm sorry. If anyone's doing it successfully, please tell me. I never know. Or if they know of anyone that's doing it successfully, please tell me. Okay. We expect a lot out of ourselves. Okay? And even women who don't have babies and they aren't married. I'm watching young people work 10 to 12 hours a day. They don't have time to take care of themselves. They're getting sick. I see a ton of autoimmune disease. A ton. On young people. Okay, let's go back. Adrenals. I like to talk about adrenals because they are important. They're two little glands that sit right on top of our kidneys, and they modulate a lot. Okay, they modulate blood sugar, mood and energy. They modulate a immunoglobulin called SIG-A, which helps to keep our gut in good health. It modulates blood pressure, thyroid hormone conversion, which I just alluded to, neurotransmitters, stomach acid, and sex hormones. Okay? So for perimenopausal women, menopausal women, as their ovaries start to shut down the production of estrogen and progesterone, guess what? The adrenals also produce estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And if someone's adrenals are really burned out and they're trying to crank that cortisol out, or you're asking a lot of your adrenals to make the cortisol, forget the sex hormones. Like I said, you can live without your sex hormones. You can't live without cortisol, so everything's going to be shunted over. And this is a whole webinar and a whole lecture. It is. Oops, I went wrong way. Okay, lifestyle. So we went from nutrition to gut, lifestyle. Lifestyle is just as important. I don't know which one to put first, food or nutrition or digestion, because they are equally to me important. If you don't have one, you're gonna lose it. I can have someone that comes in and their diet's perfect, but guess what? They're type A personality, they're my stressors. I can only get them maybe 70% well. That's all I can do. Their gut's still going to be a mess. Their hormones are still going to be a mess. I can't do anything about it unless they come and see you guys. This is where you guys are really good. And they need some, therapy and how to do life differently. Adequate sleep. That's the first thing I address. Okay? Here again, cortisol. We have circadian rhythms. Our cortisol should be highest in the morning when we want to wake up and do things. And then slowly comes down during the day. And then at night is when it should be the lowest. And a lot of people, and you see this in recovery, it's the opposite, man. Okay? And they can't go to sleep. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. There's something that is called phosphatidylserine. And actually what it does is it squashes cortisol down. So I'll put people on valerian root, ashwagandha, a little bit of L-theanine, maybe a little bit of melatonin. There's some products out there that combine all of those together, and I get really good results. And for some people, it's still not hitting it, okay? And that's when I give them the phosphatidylserine. And it's just like, oh, it just happened this week, as a matter of fact. Really nice. Okay, hormones can be a problem for women, and does that make them depressed? Yeah, when you don't get enough sleep, do you eat right? Do you think right? No, you don't do anything right, okay? Enough quiet and downtime. I'm even a little guilty of it, and I know better, and I try to read before I go to sleep. I try not to have this or anything else in front of me. I don't always succeed. It's gotten worse right now. I don't know why. Community, you guys all know. Yapping and be quiet. Here, reduce stress, reducing the ants, automatic negative thoughts, so cognitive therapy, whatever you do. Body movement is hugely, hugely important. If I could put body movement in a pill, we would be rich. Right? Okay, so you have whatever it is that you enjoy. Walking, it calms the nervous system down. Being outside, if I could give someone a prescription to be outside every day, there's something that happens. That's just, as we're built that way. We're not built to be underneath these lights. We're not built to be inside these walls. And we're in California. We could go out every day. Okay, playtime. We all need playtime. We forget that we need to play. I do too. Be willing to be less than perfect. How many of you have clients and patients that have to be perfect? Man, that's hard. Okay. This is where you guys all come in, all right? Inflammation and toxins. All right, this is a huge one. It has been stated, 13, 14 years ago by Time Magazine that inflammation was the underlying cause of all chronic disease. Yes, that's true. Doctors agree with that. What's the cause of inflammation? Okay? We have exogenous, outside of us, endogenous. Exogenous would be food, amalgam fillings, pesticides, chemicals on clothing, chemicals on flooring, chemicals in our car. I think they should do Ubers and Lyfts and then give us an option of whether or not we want a car with that stinky thing that's hanging up in the car, which is toxic to us, or not. And I'm dead serious. Okay. Medications are inflammatory. I skipped one, I'll go back to it. Stress is extremely inflammatory. Vaccines. Oh my God, I'm treading on that water there. Yeah, vaccines. So I'm just going to say just the way that they're designed to work. I'm not saying they're bad or good. I'm just saying you need to understand how they work. They are designed to cause inflammation, right? You get injected with something that is supposed to get your immune system to react to it to create immunity. That's an inflammatory response you're going to get out of your body. Not only the active vaccine itself, the virus or whatever it is, but also the adjuncts in it. There's formaldehyde in our vaccines, and there's either aluminum, the flu vaccines, which still work great. right? So that's real, and you need to know it's inflammatory. Endogenous, illness, physical injury. Again, your thoughts. The gut is probably one of the biggest sources of endogenous inflammation. So you have leaky gut, undigested protein, bad bugs, constipation, food allergies. Okay, conditions linked to inflammation, addiction, substance abuse, autism, ADD, depression, everything you got down here. Okay, that'd be, I mentioned, cardiovascular disease, diabetes. I guess I thought autoimmune was really important. I put it twice. Okay, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Do you know they're making headway on Alzheimer's? It's not with a drug. It's with lifestyle and diet. You're nodding your head. Yeah. Dr. Braden, I believe. Dr. Braden, they only did a trial of 10 people. It's hard to get funding because there's no big money in this, okay? But he has turned Alzheimer's around, so it's exciting. So Bredesen is, you know, Google it. You can turn it around and prevent it. Okay, I have no idea where I am on time. I meant to set my timer. I do want to talk about genetics. There is more and more that they can do. They can determine whether or not you're going to have a propensity to have Alzheimer's by testing certain genes. I'm going to be just talking about 3 genes that are pretty common when it comes to anxiety, depression, even eating disorders, things like that. So we're talking about the COMT gene, C-O-M-T gene, and think about dopamine with that, and think about estrogen ability to excrete estrogen, okay? This also works in conjunction with MTHFR gene. When you see the MTHFR reductase, so an enzyme to reduce folate. So think of folate, okay? Has anyone ever heard of Dupuie? Yeah, it's used in conjunction with an SSRI often because some people just need folate. So it's a prescriptive form of the active form of folate. Now, you've all heard of folic acid. You've all heard that when prenatal vitamins, they're going to have a higher level of folic acid, right? For the brain development of the baby. Well, folic acid's man-made. There are some people that have this gene and can't break it down, okay? So we know it's really important for brain development and brain activity because they put it in prenatals even more. So this is really important. And then something called pyroluria. Pyroluria, here again, I associate that with eating disorders, schizophrenia, anxiety, and it has to do with zinc and B6. So I'll talk a little bit more about all of these. So COMT gene, so I mentioned dopamine, so you can have different pairings. So you can have a person that just genetically, this is how they're designed, that'll have a higher level of dopamine, possibly, okay? But their genetics makes it difficult for them to break that dopamine down. So often they will be our bright people, they're risk takers, they'll go out, they're awesome. Until stress comes in. That dopamine level goes up a little bit more, and they don't have the ability to break it down. That's when they start to go sideways. That's when they become anxious. That's when they can have outbursts of anger. I had a little boy, loved him. And he knew he had this outburst, and he didn't want them anymore. So he had that pairing of how it was. It was bright, bright, bright. Darling, darling, darling. ADHD, too, so that's, we'll see it often as well. Another pairing would be possibly that someone has a nice level of dopamine and they're also able to break it down. That's kind of what we want. Okay, that pairing also might have a difficult time taking estrogen out of the body, which can affect men and women, by the way. And then we might have another pairing where someone just inherently has low dopamine levels. Okay, that could cause depression, right? Low dopamine levels. So looking at the genetics just kind of gives you a window into what's happening with this person. And it's really exciting when you start bringing this together for the patient and the client. It's really, really exciting. So that's the COMT. Now the MTHFR, so folate, B12, COMT, they all kind of work together. And I am going to go into this slide right here. Don't run away yet, okay? It looks very involved, but I know. I just want to show you how important it is for the MTHFR gene and how far-reaching it is, okay? So we've got this middle wheel here, and you can see the MTHFR, that's the enzyme. So it breaks folate with this enzyme down to 5-MTH, and that's what our body can, MTHF, that's what our body can utilize. And this is the form Declan's in, but there's over-the-counter as well. Above folate would be the folic acid here, and if you don't have this enzyme, you can't break it down to here. Okay, so why is this important? So you're going to look over here. If we go over on this side here, this cycle, this wheel over here, if we go down it, you see homocysteine? Has anyone ever had homocysteine levels measured on their blood test? It's kind of a good screening. Okay, kind of shows us whether or not we're getting enough B12 to break this down. But anyway, everything goes down here. This is all your detoxification pathway. Glutathione's like slide paper for toxins. So we need this in order to remove toxins. We need this in SAMe and B12 for heart health. That's heart health over here. Okay. We need this with the BH4 cycle, and this all has to do with your neurotransmitters, your dopamine, your serotonin. I want to point out, you see B6 and a lot of these things too. Maybe you B6 here, you vitamin C here, zinc should be around here, a little SAMe over here, a little SAMe over here, a little SAMe over here. So sometimes SAMe can help a person, okay? Especially if you're struggling with their B vitamins and other things like that. You just give them SAMe, and that might kind of skip some steps, and it can be very helpful for some clients, okay? So really what I'm trying to show you is the MTHFR gene and COMT gene are often measured together. It's a quick buccal swab. You can do blood too. Quick buccal swab. It's available through Life Extensions. It's available through Genova Labs and a couple other labs. You guys have heard 23andMe, right? Okay, so they're going to test a lot more genes, and they've gotten more expensive, and then you have to take the raw data to another company. And there's other companies that are doing different things as well. But anyway, I like to test for these. Okay, pyroluria. I kind of see it. This is girls much more than boys. I really haven't dealt with anyone with pyroluria with boys. I've never actually tested for it. Oops. But I have questionnaire, okay? We'll often see it in young people. So some of the symptoms would be nausea in the morning all of a sudden, okay? They kind of draw into themselves. They don't like to be around a crowd of people. They tend to get a little more anxious. And we start seeing it right around puberty, kind of when I start seeing it. And it's a gene mutation where the byproducts of the breakdown of hemoglobin binds with B6 and zinc. So it pulls those out of the body, and they're dumped in the urine. So if you recall B6, 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 is B6 important? Yeah. Is zinc important? Yeah. It has about 200 mechanisms in the body. Really, really important. I think I have a little bit of pyroluria. Now, I'm going to point something out. HRT, hormone replacement therapy, and birth control can deplete the body of B6 and zinc. A young girl's put on birth control at around age 16, 15. I had a client that came in, they did that. And I asked them, I said, so did her anxiety increase right about the time you did that? Yeah, it did. And I said, oh, okay. Would you consider taking her off birth control? No. Really? Or just give her more drugs? Okay. We didn't last as partners for very long. Okay, so this is just something to be aware of. Okay. I'm going to go into medications, drug mothers. So these are the nutrients that often are mugged. Okay, so these are some of my worst ones, ones I like the least as far as drugs. Next, the improvised acids. They rob us of everything: zinc, magnesium, B12, folate, B6, and amino acids, because your amino acids are also broken down in your stomach big time there. Birth control, HRT, and NSAIDs, they all alter the good bacteria in the stomach. So a lot of people that are on birth control or HRT, they might get more yeast infections or urinary tract infections. So we need to support them with a probiotic, extra B6, extra zinc. Antibiotics, obviously, change the gut flora because anti-bacteria, they're killing the good flora along with the bad. Buggies. Statins are, and they're just touted as the world's worst, best thing. It reduces the production of CoQ10, which is produced in our liver naturally, and CoQ10 is heart protective. Isn't that a paradox? Yeah. So if anyone is taking a statin, please take CoQ10. Okay? And any doctor that doesn't recommend CoQ10 along with taking a statin, I don't know. Okay. Statins also cause oxidative stress. What does that mean? It means it affects the DNA, it affects our energy, the cell energy. It can cause low energy and moods, and also muscle aches and pains, and sometimes it's hard to reverse. Prozac, it affects thyroid and digestion. If any of you have ever had a client that you put them on a certain type of antidepressant or anti-anxiety, and all of a sudden they blew up, could be because their thyroid was being affected. If someone blows up within 6 months, weight-wise, something's going on. Either thyroid, something's going on. Okay, supplements and nutrients that most of us, that I find most people deficient in, would be magnesium. Magnesium is your magnificent mineral. It's about 390 magnesiums in the body. So we have to have magnesium. If you have a client that's really hyper, okay, or just anxious, magnesium relaxes the muscles. They have magnesium on the ER cards for heart attacks. Relax the heart muscle. It can help with elimination as well. I'm going to tell you a little story. And then minerals, zinc, B-complex, omegas, and probiotics would be my first go-tos. These would be my first go-tos. My little boy that has ADHD, and they did try to put him on Ritalin. The really cool thing about this little boy was that his parents empowered him. He was part of that decision-making. He was 11. He was a part of the decision-making. He decided he didn't like. They put him on, I think they put him on Ritalin. I don't know what they put on. He goes, and it helped, but he goes, I couldn't bring myself out of where I was. So they changed his diet. He was willing to do that. They put him on some magnesium. They did all that before they even came to see me. So that's how sophisticated my clients are. Yeah, a lot of them are. But he was still having outbursts. He was still having problems, okay, at certain times of the day. So first of all, I looked at his diet, and we made sure his blood sugar regulation was a little more balanced in the afternoon, which is when he would go off, okay. He would get angry and blow up when they would go on vacation. Change, stress him, okay. So I changed his type of magnesium. So there's a type of magnesium called threonate, which is very readily absorbed by the brain. And for him, it made a huge difference. So we did that. We made sure this blood sugar was more regulated. I gave him more omegas and DHA. And I got an email from his mom at the end of the school year, and he got mostly A's and a couple B's and had a great school year this year. So it's possible. It really is possible. Okay. So screening yourselves and clients for possible nutrient. So I don't know what kind of intake you guys do, okay? But maybe you could expound it a little bit. Are they taking any medications? You know, look, birth control antacids, OCT, over-the-counter pain meds, thyroid medication. So these are all indications that something's going on for them. Are they a long-time vegetarian or vegan? The reason why I put that up there, especially vegan, is that they are often missing some micronutrients. Okay, and we need to kind of screen for that. Is there a need for an iron supplement? They're really tired. Indication of leaky gut, problems with the digestive system, or possibly pyroluria. Ask them about their digestion. You know, they have a bowel movement a day. Are they bloated after a meal? They have stomach pain. Are they taking birth control or HRT? These are all things that can contribute. Are they taking a statin? Are their triglyceride levels elevated? So that would tell me, especially triglyceride levels, that there's something going on with the liver, so detoxification, and probably something going on as far as your diet's concerned. And energy and depression in men. By the way, high triglyceride levels are also let's see what I want. Associated with low testosterone. They kind of go hand in hand with men a lot of the time. So lots of times men can be depressed. They have low testosterone. Why do they have low testosterone? Could be a lot of their testosterone being turned into estrogen. of an aromatase, an enzyme that turns it into estrogen. What turns it into estrogen? Lifestyle, diet, the gut, that will all produce more estrogen from their testosterone. And there's some things we can do about that. Okay, ask them, what is their diet like? What, are they eating a SAD diet or are they eating whole foods? That makes a huge difference. In the family, of course, I'm sure you take a family history, so history of depression, anxiety, suicide, schizophrenia. So history for me is really important. If I see a history, then I want to go right to the genes. I want to know what those genes say. Okay? And it helps the family, whole family. Okay, a roadmap to treat mood behavior disorders, stay on the path of sobriety, remove gluten and possibly dairy, just try it for 30 days. Eliminate processed foods as much as possible. Food dyes and preservatives, again, it goes to the brain, and some people are more susceptible than other people are. Eating whole life living foods, fix the digestion, get enough sleep, eliminate as much as possible, or get help with stress. Sometimes we can't eliminate the stress in our life, but we can handle we can deal with it differently. Learn how to relax, move your body, find out the genetic makeup, supplement with high quality bioavailable supplements. Find a functional medicine practitioner or an integrated practitioner to work with or to refer to. So I gave you a ton of information. Ton. So here are some resources. This book on ADHD and autism, I love this book. Have you seen this one, Selena? You might. It's really good. It's a great handbook of tables, if there is a symptom, possible nutrients they need more of. They did a really nice job. I think if you just Google this, you'll get the author. Okay, you guys how many of you have heard of Dr. Mark Hyman? Like my same 20% over here.
Yeah. This is great.
I highly recommend him to everybody. He is extremely easy to read. He's very generous with his information. And this is just one of his books. Get on his email list, get on his blog. You'll learn a tremendous amount from him. Great resource. The Paleo Cure. I actually haven't read this book, but I like Chris Kresser. Has anyone heard of Chris Kresser? Okay. All right. He's great. He's really good at doing his research. I don't like to read research papers, but I'll go to him. Because I know he's great at it. I'll go to him. So he has podcasts. His is a little more in-depth. This is more user-friendly, Dr. Mark Hyman. And then I put up here a Mind of Your Own with Dr. Kelly Brogan. And then I'm going to I invite you all to go to my website. I have a lot of wellness posts on my website. I do try to shoot out at least one, if not 2 emails a month. And at least one is a recipe. So I am a foodie. I love food. And I love to show people how they can, be happy and eating really well. Okay? If you sign up on my website for my newsletters, you will get a free e-recipe book if you want to do that. But I have things like chocolate pudding is made with avocado and spinach and blueberries, and then I've got cauliflower popcorn. There's just so many fun things out there, okay, that hopefully you'll explore. And I would love any cards. If anyone would like to leave me a card, I would love that for referrals. And again, I'm mainly down in Irvine, but I don't know how many of you are just up in this area, but it's nice to kind of go back and forth. And that is it. So thank you for your time and your attention. I hope you got a lot out of it. I went through awfully quickly, a lot of information, but thank you.